As I've mentioned on this channel before, the cinematographer and director's choice of photographic medium is an extremely important one in the filmmaking process. There are many options available to DPs, from large format, all the way down to shooting with a tiny 8mm negative. However, perhaps the biggest choice of mediums for productions with a large enough budget is between film and digital capture. In this video I'll use some exclusive interview footage of renowned DP Robert Yeoman, provided by the cool folks over at Cooke Optics TV, to break down some of the pros and cons of shooting on film versus digital. I've been subscribed to Cooke Optics TV for a long time and really recommend checking out their channel if you're interested in cinematography. When they reached out to collaborate, I jumped at the opportunity, especially when they mentioned unreleased Robert Yeoman footage. So, without further ado, let's get into it. Before we get into the pros and cons of each medium, we need to understand exactly what makes film and digital different. There's a reason that films are called films. This analog medium is made from a photochemical gelatine emulsion. When light hits this emulsion for a short period of time, such as a 50th of a second, it absorbs and imprints those light rays onto the emulsion. After exposure, the film then needs to be developed by passing it through a combination of chemicals without exposing it to any additional light. This permanently fixes the image and imprints it onto a piece of film. Usually negative film is used, which means that when exposed and developed, it imprints an opposite image on the film. Colors are reversed, the darkest part of the film appears light, and the lightest parts appear dark. Later, this negative is then turned into a positive. However, color reversal films such as Kodak Ektachrome, which captures light as a positive, do exist. From the late 1800s up to the early 2000s, this remained the dominant medium for capturing and presenting motion pictures. After the 2010s, however, digital cinema cameras have become the dominant medium for capturing images. Digital cinema cameras use the same concept as film cameras, but the film emulsion is replaced with a sensor, which captures light in pixels. This information is stored in the form of digital files in formats such as ProRes or RAW. When it comes to choosing motion picture film cameras, there are two go-to companies, Arri and Panavision. There are also a handful of other brands such as Aten or Moviecam, but they are used less frequently. Like most DPs, Robert Yeoman sticks to the big two. He started out using Arri cameras.
Well, I started in 16mm. We used the Arri S and then an Arri SR, which I love those cameras. The Arri SR is a great camera. And 35mm, there was a Arri 2C that originally came out, then an Arri 3. The BLs a little bit, the big old clunky BLs.
Early in his feature career in the late 1980s, Yeoman made the move from Arri over to Panavision.
I went into Panavision. I used the Golds and all the Panavision cameras for a long time. And it was all 35mm. And then I went to Germany with Wes to do Grand Budapest. I just felt in my gut, because we were using German crew, and that we should use the Arris. So we shot Arri Cam, and I loved them, and they worked beautifully.
After that experience, he's taking a liking to using Arri Cam Studio and light cameras when he shoots on film. Although a large portion of his filmography was shot in 35mm, Yeoman has recently started using digital cameras, since they become the dominant medium. The high-end digital camera space is currently dominated by Arri, Red, and Sony, although there is a large range of cameras in the space, from the other lower-budget brands such as Canon and Blackmagic.
My next movie after that was a digital film. I kind of tested different cameras, and I just kind of liked the Alexa, so I became an Alexa person. And so when I shoot movies digitally, now I use the Alexa, though my last movie was film and we shot Arri Cam, But generally, my camera of choice now is Alexa.
When it comes to making a pros and cons list, one of the biggest pluses for digital comes down to its ease of use. If working in the lower budget realm with fewer resources and time, it can be a great option.
I mean, I love both film and digital. You know, digital cameras are great, and they're certainly, for certain things, they are probably superior to film. You know, doing a documentary, you know, or if you know you're going somewhere where you can't light and it's very low light, you're probably better off with a digital camera. And they can achieve amazing looks. I mean, yeah, I mean, a lot of the movies, most of the movies shot today are digitally shot, you know, and some of them are incredibly beautiful.
Digital cameras are also able to roll for extended periods of time before a card needs to be changed. Whereas with film, a 400-foot 35mm magazine shooting 4perf only lasts for about 4.5 minutes before the camera needs to be reloaded. With processing costs, it adds up to around $430 for 4.5 minutes of footage. This makes film an expensive option, unless directors are disciplined in how they cover scenes. So while digital gives filmmakers the ability to get more options and variations of takes without the need to cut in between, there's a case to be made that this style of working also has its downside. Digital footage shot in this continuously rolling spray and pray method is usually far less deliberate.
The thing about film is there's a mystery to it, and I think that when you shoot film, people are more concentrating because they know it's valuable and there's something going through a camera and you can kind of hear it, and I find that the people on the set concentrate more. When you're shooting digitally, they tend to just roll the camera and don't cut, and people's attention, you look around, everybody's on their phones, and you know, it's something I try to tell my guys is if you have to make a text or a call, go off the set. I don't want to see your phone on the set. I understand you have to make a call, but just take it somewhere else, because it's very distracting to the director and the actors.
Another practical pro of digital, which isn't always considered, is its playback abilities. Digital cinema cameras provide a crystal clear video feed, which can be transmitted to a large director or client's monitor at up to 4K resolution. This means that directors, DPs, and clients can see exactly what footage is being captured on set. This means there are never any unfortunate surprises in the editing room. Although the video tap system and modern film cameras have greatly increased, the quality of their video output isn't optimal. This means that the rushes or raw footage can only be properly viewed after processing. Usually this occurs the next day, but when shooting in a remote location, this may only happen at the end of each week of shooting. If there's an issue like a strand of hair on the gate that is recorded over the entire scene, or a close-up which is all out of focus, this may only be seen much later. In some cases this could mean reshooting a scene, but with digital, these kinds of issues can quickly be identified and corrected on set. The final and probably most important pro is the look. Although color correction tools have incredible capabilities nowadays, trying to achieve a truly identical filmic look digitally is a tough task.
I think that there's a quality to the film that you can't achieve digitally. And when I shot the Brian Wilson movie, Love and Mercy, of course they'd budget digitally, and so I said, listen, this was a movie back in the 60s and 70s, and it has to be film. And I got the director on board, and then I took it the next step and said, I really want to shoot 16 for a lot of this old stuff. And so we did tests, and I showed him the director, and he was on board with that. He loved it. And so if you have the director on your side, we went in and said we want to shoot film, and they were like, oh my God, you know, and they fought it tooth and nail, but you know, we got our film, and I think it has a quality to it that you can't duplicate on digitally, and people would argue with me about that, I'm sure, but and you know, I've been in movies where is this film or is this digital? You know, I kind of go back and forth. But I'm rarely fooled. I can usually tell. And like this film I just shot, we shot a lot of black and white film, and it has a quality to it that I don't think you can do digitally. It has this randomness in the grain, and it just has a feeling to it that I don't think digitally you can achieve. And so there's a texture and a feeling and a depth to it that the digital camera doesn't get. So again, I'm not saying bad about digital cameras. They're wonderful. I love them. But you know, there's something special about a film and film camera.
When we tally up the results, it seems that the digital pros are mainly around its versatility, practicality, and ease of use. Ultimately, these reasons pale in comparison to the most important one, the look. As Yeoman mentions, whether or not the look of 16 or 35mm can be achieved by digital means is a discussion many have had. Personally, I fall on the side that it is possible to almost replicate the film look in the color grade, but there still remains a certain magical, photochemical randomness and optical quality to the medium of film, which can't 100% be matched. Film certainly isn't right for each project, far from it, but there do still remain some movies for which shooting in the analog format perfectly supports the visual way in which the story is told. This video was made possible by all the fans on Patreon. If you'd like to support the channel and get early access to these videos, please consider supporting by following the link below. Otherwise, if you enjoyed the content, giving the video a like, a comment, and subscribing would also be a great help to the channel. Until next time, thanks for watching, and goodbye.